repeat them, simplify them, so that everybody concerned can come on board. Then when and if they are not there, and we advocate for them, we start with the private sector, who are the concerned party, then we go to government, then we go to all the MDAs, because whatever policy it is most important that everybody is on board during its formation and then during its implementation. So basically, UAA is in advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about advocacy and agriculture, and also the reports that agriculture is the bedrock of our economy as Uganda. There are different facets to this. And where does this conversation begin and end? Is it mainly about the farmer who starts the farming, cultivates the land, tills the land, and takes care of the crops up until the time when they get to the consumer? Or there is more to that? What do we need to know?
What we need to know has actually been simplified with using that chart, which is showing the farmer at the top and the consumer at the bottom. Meaning everybody on that on each side of that chart is actually serving just those two people, the farmer and then the consumer. For example, we start with the UBC. How do you come into it? In order for anything to happen, we need information. The details of the content are secondary, but the information has to be there. For example, if somebody says Kenya would like to buy a lot of sweet bananas from Uganda, then the next question comes, what type? Do they want Indizi? Do they want Bogoya? Are they talking about Gonja? Because for Kenyans, Mandizi is Mandizi. So we want to start with the information. But then this information is needed by the farmer, who is the first person to say, oh, they want Mandizi. So what does it take for me to produce them? That is when research comes in. And research may have been done by social workers who say, actually, the Kenyans prefer Bogoya. They want the large type. Then National Agriculture Research Organization comes in and says, if you are going to export Bogoya and you are going to export maybe 20 tons per day, we need this acreage, and then everything else has to fall in place. Because in order for what research has done to be implemented in the farmer's field, we need an extension worker there who goes to research, understands what they are saying, and tells the farmers that you said you want to grow Bogoya. National Research Organization is saying this is the best Bogoya. You plant it like this, you'll get this much per stool. One bunch will be weighing so much. So if Kenya wants 20 tons per day, you need so many acres, and you need so many bunches harvested daily in order to deliver. Now, in order for that to work like clockwork, everybody has to be in place. So we have heard that research has done its job, the extension worker has done her job, and then the farmer has produced. Once the farmer produces, then the questions of, there's something they call ply.
Yes.
So the first time I had ply, I'm like, is that Rusoga? Is that English? But in our language of agriculture, we know we have to prepare ways in which we are going to transport what we produce. Because apparently for the tomatoes people, they cannot transport their tomatoes without the ply. Now for Bogoya, there are people who are experts at harvesting so that it is not bruised at all. Then there are those who are experts at loading it on the lorries. Then you find sometimes, depending on who the off-taker is, you find a pickup full of Bogoya, all of it clothed in banana leaves and tied up properly. It's because we don't want to bruise them. If, for example, your buyer is a first-class hotel in Kampala, they don't want to be serving bruised bananas, so you tie them up properly. So there's that expert who does the tying. Then there are those who load. Then if you are serving the bigger community like Nakasero, Wino, and Nakawa, that is where the Bogoya is loaded onto the lorries. So the lorry driver, the one who makes sure that there is fuel, the one who makes sure the tires are okay, all those are serving the agriculture sector. Finally, they get the bogoya to Nakawa. There are people whose job it is, expertise, it is to get that bogoya from the lorry down. The lorry does not go into the market. So there are people with the wooden wheelbarrows are still there. They put this bogoya on the wooden wheelbarrows and wheel them into the market. Then there are people whose, it is really interesting, there are people whose expertise is in just cutting the bogoya. You see, when those bigoagu are being cut, you find that they are really done neatly.
Yes.
And you think you can also do it. Try one day.
Interesting.
Yeah. So by that time, the bogoya, which was an idea from Kenya, is on your breakfast table. More than 100 people have actually touched it.
So now, my takeaway from this is that in as much as agriculture is the bedrock for our economy,
yes,
it's not just the farmer and then the consumer. That there are different players before the product or the produce gets to the final person that is going to use it.
Exactly.
So why is it that we every time we hear conversation about agriculture, farming, no one tells us about this? And do these people know their role in this agriculture sector?
No, first of all, you know that common saying these days, fetwagala sente, tetwagala kutunyonyola. So for this person, as long as he offloads the bogoya and you pay him, he doesn't care what you call him.
Okay.
That for the woman, for example, I've got a woman vendor who sells me my sweet bananas. And I really admire those women in the markets. But some of them have been there for over 20 years. And every single day you go there, and even if the price falls, price goes up, you don't find that she has left the bananas and gone onto onions. No, they are there.
I think some of the most hardworking women
at the market
and the most loyal and consistent women we have are the vendors.
Plus, the best behaved. You know, you arrive there and that customer-seller relationship is very clear. There is no, in Uganda they call it kamanyiro. Most of those vendors, they don't bring kamanyiro on you. You are a customer, full stop. Because quite often I talk to these women who, I mean, they look so rich. I should be calling them nyabo. And they are there, oh, nyabo tukukwatireko. So for us, as Uganda Agribusiness Alliance, we see all this as a very important link in the value chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about a value chain, before we even delve further into it, let's talk about value addition.
Yes.
Now, which are some of the products that we have that would help us in value addition?
The first thing I'm not going to talk about is value addition, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'm here to lay the foundation for the whole sector, so that you will subsequently get experts to explain to Uganda what the agribusiness sector is all about.
Yes.
So for me, what I'm going to say about value addition is this. In order for you, let's say you have a loving grandmother who says, when I'm no longer here, Olive should take my banana plantation. In order for you to do to do better, you are going to add value to that plantation. If for her it was subsistence, for you are going to improve it. Even if it is 1 acre, you are going to be able to sell food from it. So for us, that is already value addition. That is one. Two, now I see there are a number of processors who are processing gonja into gonja crisps. I love them. That is value addition. But in order for, I'll use the name if nobody else minds, because they are the ones I know. In order for Newman to make good gonja crisps, you, the farmer, have to give her high quality gonja. So when I say your grandmother bequeathed you her banana plantation, you added value in that you put fertilizers, and you end up, for me, I'm old fashioned. I want that gonja, the big one, the one which is a bit hard and fluffy. So if that is what we are producing, these days a raw one is going for 1,000 shillings. So going back to where I started, from information, I give you that information. Yes. So you go looking for the best seedlings. That way you are adding value to your plantation, to your product, and so. So eventually, when the processors buy your gonja and they add value to it, even the final buyer is going to be ready to pay a good price. That is one. Two, this processor is likely to get a good, a more dependable, high-class buyer and get a good price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at least we've got an understanding of
value addition.
Okay. Now let's look into the importance of value chain. What is value chain, and how does it enhance efficiency and productivity?
Okay. First of all, I want to tell everybody that a value chain is not like a machine which you are going to find lying there and I tell you this is the value chain. No. This just explains the way we do business. And the agribusiness sector itself works value chain by value chain. However small the commodity is, there is a value chain. And normally the failure or success of that commodity depends on the value chain. Like the saying goes, the weakest link in the chain is its weakness. So if in this value chain there is a weakness, you are finished. So what is a value chain? A value chain is a process which starts somewhere. I would say in this case, in the case of agriculture, I believe it starts in research. Then it goes to the extension worker who gives you the information. Then it comes to me, the farmer, and I use this information. I use, in the process of being given information, I'm also told let's say the agrochemicals to use, if I'm going to use fertilizer, or if I'm going to spray the commodity in the garden, or whatever I'm going to do. This extension worker stands between me and research and tells me, even if your grandmother used to do it this way, when she was growing pawpaws, they were never sprayed. Now, the extension worker comes and explains, oh, you see, we have cut down all the trees, so the little insects have nothing to eat, so they're going to eat your pawpaws. So in order for your pawpaws not to be eaten, use this. So all that is part of the value chain. You use that, you spray your pawpaws, and then, because these days quite a number of our pawpaws are being exported across into Kenya, these scouts will come and tell me, oh, you are the bulking person here. Olive pawpaws should be ready in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, indeed, I arrive, and your pawpaws are ready, and you have got the expert pickers. So those people who have told me, the ones we call the scouts, are part of the value chain. Because if they are not there, I may not know that you are into pawpaws at their small size. And when I say scouts and I say if they are not there, somebody will say, but use the phone. You see, when you have a phone, you cannot just ring anybody.
No.
You have to have a person you are targeting.
That's
so
true.
These scouts these days come, see your purpose, and come onto their phones and put information out there. 2 weeks from now, Namayumba A will have about 10 tons of pawpaws. So for the people who are off-takers, will already start preparing. So this is what they talk to the lorry driver on such and such a day. By 5 a.m., you should have packed at this spot, because the pawpaws are normally picked very late in the evening and packed that late in the evening, and they have got to be in the markets by about 5:30, 6 o'clock latest. The lorry is gone. Because I've always wondered why I don't see any lorries offloading when I pass Nakasero, Owina and whatever. Kumbe, they do it at night.
They do it very early in the morning.
So all those are parts of the value chains. Now, if the lorry driver does not show up, you can just imagine. The market vendor is seated there at 6 o'clock waiting for this lorry. And somebody is saying, oh, you see, his aunt was sick. Who cares? The aunt can even die. But the pawpaws have got to go to the market. So we are all parts of the value chain. So back to the story of the pawpaws. You and I and other families eat a pawpaw a day.
Yes.
And to this vendor, we have to buy this pawpaw. She doesn't care whether you are sick or whatever. You take the pawpaw and her day is done. So value chain by value chain. The pawpaw has arrived into the market. It has been offloaded. It has been nicely put there. You go pick it up, and somebody, let's say if you own a hotel, somebody whose job it is to prepare the breakfast, wakes up and for him, he just walks into the store. He knows the purples are there. So he does not want to know that the lorry driver lost his aunt. Therefore, the purples didn't come to the market and the vendor didn't know. So all that is what we are talking about. Like I said, some of the commodities which have failed, like there's vanilla. At one time it was doing very well. Then it went down.
Yes.
But two things happened. One, the price fell. Then the moment the price falls, it is normally the middlemen who disappear. And for a reason I would never know, in Uganda, the middlemen are normally not known by their names. They use pet names, they use one name, so you ask. So what is happening here, like for us in Butambala where we grow ginger, you ask, how is the season going? Oh. This season is very bad. And I'm like, why? You see the Kenyans are not here. And I'm like, I told you to stop calling them Kenyans. When they come to trade with you,
you should know their names.
Exactly. Get to know their names. And this day and age of photos, take a photo and say this is Kamau of Kiranjui and is going to buy so much.
What usually happens is that this person, I will call them a faceless person at this moment. They come in, they bring produce, someone takes them off the truck, they go, trade has been done, but you still don't know who they are.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Weird.
And we are talking about not small money. We are talking about millions of shillings.
How do you deal with someone
That's the question.
in millions of shillings and you don't know their name?
That's the question.
So where is the gap there? And how can it be addressed?
That is the job of UAA. So what UAA does is we go to what we call orphaned crops or animals, and we find out what the gap is. Like right now, our orphaned crop stroke whatever is onion and garlic. Because at UAA, we just can't understand. If somebody can grow garlic in China and export it over all those miles, and it gets here and it still makes a profit, what if that garlic was grown in Wachiso? So when at first when I asked, I was told that because garlic does not grow in Uganda. But I've told you I'm a farmer's daughter. I went to, there's somebody called Frank, he's in Kulambiro, and he grows garlic, and he actually tutored me. I grew garlic in Ntinda, and I had a fantastic harvest. Now, if Kampala can grow it, any part of Uganda can grow garlic.
Most definitely.
Currently, one piece of garlic, if you buy it in Nakawa or Wino Nakasero, is going for 1,000 shillings.
Yes.
I'm told the moment it leaves those markets, you start paying 1,500 for one.
In the supermarket, it goes to at between 4,000, 4,500, 6,000, like the bunch of 4.
Yeah.
Yes, but 1,500
That's
to
it.
2,000.
That's it. So that is good money. So we at UAA, once we see that type of orphaned crop, and we call it orphaned because there is no budget for it in the Uganda budget. Nobody talks about it except when the housewife is going to make the sauce. So we go in there and we find out who is in there. The first people talk to, of course, are always the vendors because they are obviously there. And you ask them, who sells you this garlic? So they tell you, you know the Uganda garlic, which is not packed in those nice whatever things. You find it on the little containers. That one, you look at the little garlic.
And it takes a lot of time just to remove the peels off of them.
I know. Then, so we have now started working with the onion value chain. And if I can just keep a bit, because I'm very excited about onions. For the longest time, most of the onions eaten in West Nile were coming from Sebei, Kapchora.
Yes.
So you grow onions in eastern Uganda in order to feed West Nile. So we got there and we've just done a pilot and we have just had our first harvest and the farmers can't believe it. Because I was asking these farmers, like I told you about the ply for tomatoes, for us of onions, we use basins. So a basin about this big is 300,000 shillings in West Nile. But then the garden would be like 10 by 10 feet, not meters. So what we do is give that type of information. We find the people who are already there. We don't find Olive in the studio of UBC and say, come and grow onions. Never. We go and find those people, whether they speak English or whatever, we don't farm in English. We talk to them, and once they are convinced to try, We let them try at their own leisure, and we tell them whatever you harvest, you enjoy. Now, these people that store of the onions in West Nile are like, no, we are not going to eat them. These are for the market. Like, no.
Because they were too good.
Yeah, they are too good.
So, and now that you mention onions, last year the country was in a bit of between a rock and a hard place. We were out of onions. The prices
the region,
were
madam. It is not the country,
high.
it's the region.
It's really like in
Tanzania.
was it like in the entire region, like East African countries?
Yes.
Oh.
You know, sometimes our onions come all the way from Ethiopia. But how can Uganda, with all this fertile soil and these waters, not have enough onions for ourselves?
So how now I want us to go back to
UAA.
UAA and how, for instance, when we noticed like last year the entire region was struggling with onion prices, and this is not the first crop where we have struggled and it is out of supply, and then of course the few vendors that have the crop are now charging an arm and a leg for it. So how does UAA help this situation?
The first thing we do is give information, which is why I'm here. Then the next thing is work with the National Research Organization of Uganda, which is NARO. Then from NARO, the extension workers start talking to nearly every district, giving out this information. Then, of course, we deal mostly with the private sector. The seed providers start selling seed and telling you, oh, this one is red. When most Ugandans don't want white onions, including the president. I heard him complain about white onions. So this is the red one, which everybody likes. This is the red one, which will give you a big bulb, and so on and so forth. So that is what is happening right now as we go into the planting season. Then the consumers, of course, continue complaining about the price, but they continue. You know, I like the way the women complain.
They complain and continue. Because they are necessary. I mean, cooking food without onions, I think it is sacrilege, just like cooking without salt.
I know.
You don't know the importance until you cook a meal and it's not there.
I know.
But now that we are going into the planting season,
yes,
let's talk about seeds. How does I need to know what UAA's role is when it comes to seedlings and, you know, dealing with seed companies.
Once again, our job, I think in Uganda we would be called Kayungirizi. Our job is to know what is missing and we tell those who are concerned. Like now I'm talking about onions.
Yes.
We actually have been sponsoring radio programs in the north because that is where it was ridiculous getting those onions from there to there. So we go there, we sponsor programs, and then the private sector is always listening. Before we finish, they are already putting out adverts. Right now, if you listen, you hear radios announcing the seeds for onions and other things. But that in itself is one of our biggest worries. This one, I'm just going to say it briefly. We shall talk about it more later. When you are Uganda and you are an agriculture country, this business, this question you are asking about seeds is really primary. Because if somebody wanted to cut you off, the easiest thing to do is just cut off your seed supply. So Uganda, the reason we have NARO is for them to find a way of domesticating most of our seeds so that we control the bedrock of our economy, which is agriculture. So there are a number of seed companies. Some of them just import seeds, but a number of them actually produce the seeds here, clean them, pack them, and distribute them. So all that is part of the agriculture value chain, which I was saying. Should one part go wrong, like you get the wrong seeds, the whole of Uganda is toasted.
Wow, interesting. Well, we are speaking about agribusiness and, of course, the creation of a value chain. And I'm having this conversation with the former Minister for Agriculture, Victoria Sechitoleko. Now, if you have any queries and, of course, views that you would like to share with us, the WhatsApp number is 0709602592. You can also send a text message. Please do not call. But when you send a text message, you can also leave your name via WhatsApp and also via text messages. And on YouTube, on X app, you can still find our page there and leave us a comment. The hashtag is UBCGMU Extra. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and you're still watching Good Morning Uganda Good Morning Uganda agenda, and I beg your pardon, the hashtag on X app is UBCGMU. So leave your comment, and we will definitely read it and share it with the Honorable, and she will be guiding us further with your queries. Now, Honorable,
yes,
we have talked about seeds, and you said if someone wants to disorganize you or to cut you off, all they have to do is take away your, basically cut off your seed supply.
Yeah.
Now, moving on, you have shared with us how that can be handled and what UAA is doing to ensure that there is constant seed supply, but also that our seeds are safe by narrow protecting our sources. Now, let's look at, because when we look at the bedrock of our economy, there is agriculture, there is also tourism. And these two sometimes work hand in hand. Tell us more about that.
Okay. Currently, the whole world is promoting agritourism.
Yes.
Which has actually been happening, although it was not being emphasized. That is one. Two, let me talk a bit about what is agribusiness anyway, because agritourism is one part of agribusiness. Everybody who deals in, call it agrochemicals, fertilizers, those people who sell slashers, who sell hose, who sell, that is the beginning of agribusiness. Then the people who design and make caterpillars, the ones which dig our valley dams to feed our water, even that is part of agribusiness. The tractor designers, makers, distributors, all that is agribusiness. Then you get on to people who have got those magurukumi, those huge lorries transporting our food, especially when they are refrigerated. All that is agribusiness. So we have got logistics, we have got, until we get to the tourism which you are asking me about. If, for example, now we are going into April, between April and June, the Netherlands will be having fields and fields and fields of tulips. They look so beautiful. Busfuls of people travel from all over the world to just go and look at them. You get in there, to get in there, you pay $20. That the whole field is fenced, but the eyes can really feast. $20. So you go, your eyes feast, you get out, I pay my $20, my eyes feast, and so on.
Revenue has been gained.
Exactly. So even in Uganda, I'm very happy to confirm that a number of Ugandans have started going into agritourism. There will be need to train some of them to hire professional tour guides, because we can do so much. If you are going to be a studio producer, you cannot be the camera person at the same time.
That's right.
So on the farms, most farmers are expert farmers, but they are not expert marketers or tour guides. So we are going to have to find a way of incorporating that into their system. In other countries, this is what would happen if you are in China. Let's say you set up a farm where you are showing us coffee and cattle. You have got your cows here, you get the manure, you ferment it, you get gas out of it, you put the bioslurry in your garden, you produce this organic coffee, which is so beautiful. From here to there is nothing but coffee berries. We go all the way until you are giving us coffee and milk. And for that, we have paid maybe between $30 and $50. Now, in other countries, if we saw that that is what Olive is doing, the government would actually step in and say, let us support you. Because in order for you to do all that, you are employing about 10 people. But if we support you, you could actually support 20.
Well, Honorable Minister, as we wind up, what is your last message in a few moments? My message to everybody is Uganda is an agriculture country, but we should all be parts of agribusiness, any agribusiness value chain you choose. But whatever you do, for as long as you are part of eating, part of dressing, because in agribusiness we look at it in four ways.
if you are producing food, fiber, fuel, or forest, all that is agribusiness. So since you are all supporters of those four, make sure that you play your part and play it good.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for speaking with us. There is so much when it comes to when it comes to agribusiness, and of course, we have been having a conversation on the same with the Honorable Minister Victoria Sechitoleko, and we have been having a conversation about agribusiness in Uganda and the importance of value chain development. That's why she says that any part of the agribusiness chain that you're a part of, make it count and do it well. And she did share with us the different parts or the different linkages in this chain. Well, we can't go any further, but thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Uganda. This has been Good Morning Uganda Agenda, and my name is Olive Monica Najuma. I was with the former Minister for Agriculture, Victoria Sechitoleko, and now up next, Ruben Mpima is coming in with a sports update. Stay with us. Good Morning Uganda continues.